reflection. So all that I have to say must penetrate. You are my reflection. There's no other way to communicate. You are all I need to survive. You help to sustain my life. I don't know what I would do without you. 'Cause if I don't breathe, you don't exist. My smile in the morning, my healthy morning meal, my prayer in the afternoon. I call on you. I wake you up in me. Deep, deep in the center of my being, you are indeed a reflection of me. Nothing I can't bear. You are my weapon against enemies. Sometimes people think I'm crazy, 'cause with you, I see no boundaries. A no-limit soldier. A woman who's bear fruit and named him after you. Love with you is real. I have no doubt. 'Cause every time I speak, I always think of you. I think of your eyes. I always think of you, and I think of your smile. Do you ever think of me? Think of my child. I always dream of you, being in your arms.
It is Ocean Lade coming through with My Reflections is the name of this particular track. And that is how we kick off this Friday afternoon. A wonderful, glorious Friday, beautiful summer's Friday, actually, in fact, from our side. And hopefully you are having a good Friday as well. You know, on Fridays, we like to take things nice and easy on the full circle with myself, Bridget Masinga. We like to take things easy. We almost kekeleza on a Friday, and we focus on all things arts and culture, just to gear us and set us in the mood for the weekend ahead. And today is absolutely no different. It's Mother's Day this coming Sunday. And of course, we are going to focus a little bit on that today, focusing our attention there in honoring and celebrating mothers, but also discoursing around our relationship with moms. We're going to be catching up with Lerato Sithole, who is behind a new docuseries called Moms Rising. And she's going to tell us a bit more about that particular project that was shot between LA and, of course, SA. And we'll find out what that entails. And then Africa Rising, the music conference, is back for 2 days at the end of this month. And we'll find out from its organizer what's to be expected on that particular calendar. And, of course, on the other side of 2 o'clock, I did promise you yesterday that we're going to be in conversation today with Black Motion. They are back in the music scene. They've regrouped and reconfigured and are presenting a new look Black Motion. And so they are going to be coming through at 2:30 for full access. But I'll tell you more about developments in that particular story closer to the time. Listen, we also want to, like I said, on Sunday is Mother's Day, right? And we also thought we'd put to the table a conversation around your relationship with your mother. How is your relationship with your mother? And this is sparked by a conversation that Oprah Winfrey had a couple of weeks ago with former actress actress and model Brooke Shields, who's written quite extensively in a new book about her relationship with her mom that was oftentimes very heavy and sort of burdened with all kinds of challenges. And she's reflected back on that conversation, and it sparked an entire movement on Oprah's platforms, but people sharing just the difficulties of the mother relationship at times, right? And how burdensome and how emotional that mother relationship can be. And we thought we'd ask you that question. It's easy for us to say to you, share what's great about your mom and why you love your mom. But for Family Meeting, we really wanted to just get to the heart and soul of these relationships, whether they are good, whether they are bad. So we invite you to share with us, your relationship with your mom, the nature of the relationship that you have with your mom. How is it? For the better, for the worst? Perhaps it was a bit more challenging and difficult in your youth or growing up, and as the years have gone by and as you've become an adult, perhaps become a parent yourself, you have a new appreciation and a new perspective of where your mother may have been coming from and the things that she may have been experiencing at the time, and how that could have affected your relationship with her or her relationship with you. 061-410-4107 is our WhatsApp line. You can drop us a WhatsApp voice note there. You can always stay anonymous if you want to. 086 000-2032. My apologies, a frog got stuck in my throat. 086-000-2032 is the number that you can call us on if you'd like to go live, and you can definitely start making comms with us right now if you so desire. My producers are standing by. 086-000-2032 and 061-410-4107 is our WhatsApp line. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
At Specsavers, we're committed to offering affordable and professional eye care. That's why we're offering 1,500 Rand worth of savings with our winter promotion. Get a free frame up to the value of 1,500 Rand or use the 1,500 Rand on one of our leading lens enhancements. To qualify, simply purchase a comprehensive eye examination and prescription frame and lenses. Book online or call your nearest store today. Specsavers, for affordable eye care and a whole lot more. T's and C's apply.
Come test drive the new Ford Territory, the family SUV with a 1.8-litre EcoBoost engine that is both powerful and fuel efficient. Get yours at launch prices from only 590,000 Rand, including an optional service plan for a limited time only. Get to your nearest Ford dealer and test drive the new Ford Territory today. T&Cs apply.
Yo, I want to talk to this girl, but I'm shy, bro.
Come on, go talk to her, bro. It's a masquerade party. Plus, the ladies love a man with a bit of mystery. Don't worry, we got you.
Hey, girl.
I just wanna know who's behind that mess. From the moment I saw you, you stole my heart. Can I please get your number, babe? And I'll take your word. I promise to love you forever, and this I vow. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
I'll show you my face if you show me yours.
Let's face it, when you channel your inner superstar, every moment turns into a musical. Catch The Masked Singer SA, Saturdays at 6:30 p.m. and see who's hiding behind the mask. Channel a better you with S3. S3, open up.
The SAFM University Debate Challenge is back. Join us for the 1-hour debate on This Week Today with Oliver Dixon from 6 to 7 p.m. on Friday, the 10th of May 2024 at the SABC Auditorium in Auckland Park, Johannesburg. The University of Pretoria will take on the University of Witwatersrand in what promises to be a nail-biting debate. The SAFM University Debate Challenge is an independent, non-partisan progressive initiative seeking to develop confident communicators, critical thinkers, and empowered global citizens. If you want to attend the debate, you can email info@safm.co.za. SAFM, leading the conversation. Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
It is the Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga on SAFM, leading the conversation. And of course, today we're catching up with Lerato Sithole, who is behind Moms Rising. And this is a documentary that is really spearheading a conversation between and about mothers. An ode, she says, to the indomitable spirit of motherhood and the power of resilience. And she joins me now to talk about this project. And of course, just the journey of motherhood through the stories of the woman who shared with her. How are you doing this afternoon, Lerato?
I am doing fine, Bridget. And how are you? And afternoon to the listeners.
I'm fantastic. Thank you. I cannot complain. I guess by way of our start point today, the inspiration or the motivation behind you deciding to really embark on this journey with Moms Rising.
Yeah. So, very interesting journey, a journey that caught me by accident, by surprise, because I am not a person who had on the bucket list that one day I want to be on a movie, but really birthed by Scott Savine, who is the director of this docu-film. And really it was after, just during lockdown, and I'm a follower of the Think and Grow Rich book by Napoleon Hill, and part of the foundation, and they made a call out and say, are you a mother that has lived according to these principles? Share your story with us. And I'm in lockdown. We didn't have much to do. I shared my story, and fast forward later, shortlisted, and I was part of the 12 mothers that can tell their stories, who've lived according to those principles of success, and really share that with the world for inspiration, for legacy, and to grow to a better self.
Clue us in, those of us who've not picked up the book. Admittedly, I am those of us. Think and Grow Rich. Share with us some of the principles found within that book, and sort of how do they translate into how you navigate motherhood, and by extension, I guess your role within womanhood as well.
Exactly. So the book has 13 principles of success. And, because they're in the book, you might think that they're in a mystery, but these are principles that some of them have been passed down by our grandmothers when we had stories that are being told. And it's actually from an Africa perspective, it's part of who we are. The book was written in 1937 after a 20-year research by Napoleon Hill, just gathering the habits, the principles, the behaviors of the then successful people who included Woolworth, Henry Ford, and so on. And now having it in Africa, that's what we want to do. That's what I want to do. So some of the principles, they are your purpose. The first one is purpose and desire. So as a mother, what exactly is your purpose? Is it being Mamaga Lindo, like I am, or is there a more deep-seated purpose that I am born for, and just being blessed with the ability of the spirit of motherhood? So purpose, masterminds is one of the principles, adversities and failures, how you go through adversity and rise up, and faith, which is one also of my favorite principles, that and going an extra mile. So there's 13 of them. Another one of them is what we're good at as mothers, creation, imagination, visualization. So those are some of the principles, and we really want to tell those principles. So my vision for Think and Grow Rich Africa is to bring on those principles in an African context.
I see. And as you say, you were part of 12 mothers from across the world that were then invited to partake in the filming of this project. And tell me, you bring 12 women together from across the world, and one would assume that in that room, there's obviously a lot of shared experience, but also a lot of nuance, that's sort of brought to the fore by a whole host of factors.
Yes, no, absolutely, and that is the case. I think on lots of shared experiences that were there, you find that there's commonalities, and Scott Savin, again, the director, he's here in South Africa to really share the day with me tomorrow. He's the one that kind of pulled it together, and just made it work. But the experience that we had is just that connection, and I'll relate to one point which for me was almost shared amongst us, and most of us have like 4 or 5 children. I don't know how it happened. I've got 5, some have 6, and some are just mothers through the spirit of motherhood, just mothering a nation, a community. But one principle that really I found that was one of the resonating principle is the one that goes around adversity and failure. What we go through as mothers and rise up again, brings back the title of Moms Rising. I have 5 children. I lost one of my children, and so it's something that I realized that there's so many of the 12 mothers that have gone through something like that in one way or the other, different shapes and forms. But yeah, then it just becomes a community. We've become a family now.
And might I ask, sort of the purpose of documenting this conversation around motherhood? What were some of the conversation that Scott and the team shared in as far as the driving force behind archiving this journey of motherhood with you 12 ladies?
Exactly. So, we're going to Mother's Day, and usually it's flowers, it's lunch, it's gifts. It's that's how we usually celebrate. But this time around, through what Scott is doing, and through us, is to peg down a legacy. This is a journey of transformation. So it is to take the ability to be a mother. Taking a seed, birthing it, normally it will be then the 9 months, but if you just take it in any other scenario, you birth a seed. If it's a vision of a business, a vision of a company, a vision of an artwork. So you birth it, you nurture it, you take it through the time, you love it unconditionally, you rise, you fall and you rise with it. So I think the message behind that is, how do we use our thoughts as mothers to birth anything? Because we have the ability, we have the intuition to know what's going to go right, what's going to go wrong. We just know how things work. If you take mothers, put them in the boardroom, you've got the best board meeting or the best executive. So it's a transformation journey. This is the beginning of the journey. So for it to come here in Africa, we are starting a journey. And one of the things that we're going to do is to embark on a long-term journey, which is called Mom's Thoughts to Riches. How do you use your thoughts to birth something and get to that level of riches? And riches is not limited to financial riches, but it includes financial riches. But to take something that is a thing, like a thought, and nurture it like a mother would nurture it and transform it into something big. Now, what's interesting is that the spirit of motherhood is not only limited to women that give birth, but it is a spirit that can also exist in men. We've got some fantastic single dads, some fantastic fathers, uncles, brothers that embody the spirit of motherhood. So it's a transformation journey, Bridget. We're starting a movement here. We're starting a movement of stop being victims, but use what we have, because this motherhood is a seed already. It's like a thought, it's a seed already. We want to use it and just go further and further, better and better, build those communities. And as a mother, we love unconditionally. Let's bring that on to our businesses. Let's bring that on in our communities and really becoming rich.
Yeah. Your commitment to the principles found in Napoleon Hill's seminal works, Think and Grow Rich, are so sort of entrenched in the way you conduct yourself as a mother and the way you navigate through this, that you've now started the Africa chapter, Think and Grow Rich Africa.
Yes. Yes, yes. Think and Grow Rich Africa, it's a transformational development organization. So in that, we are going to take people through coaching, through mentoring. Like I mentioned, Mom's Thoughts to Riches is one of that. Another one is learn how to think and grow rich. You work with me, and then other skills, skills that I also, have. So we are really going to be coaching. We're going to be mentoring. We're going to be educating, and we're going to do storytelling. So like Moms Rising. So Scott and I are working on the true African version of Moms Rising. So this is the beginning of a yearly version that we're going to have every year. So mothers in Africa are going to have the opportunity to be casted in this docuseries that, our African has nuances. There's things about Africa, the richness, the diversity of our continent. That's what we want to bring. It could be in Morocco. It could be Nigeria, in Ghana. It is around the continent. So the license I have for Think and Grow Rich Africa is for us to do anything in any shape or form, and not only limited to mothers, and it encompasses all the countries of our continent.
I got you. So you are having the launch event this coming weekend, and is everybody invited?
Yes, everybody's invited. There are a few people that are invited to be here in person. It's going to be at the Waterfall building in Deloitte. I mean, I'm a partner at Deloitte, so I'm really showcasing our beautiful building. It's going to be here in Deloitte starting from 4:30 for those that are invited in person. But everybody can join us online. There's a virtual seat you can reserve online, and then you can join us and have the time to be with us, view the screening, but also, be part of the conversations that are going to happen before and after the screening. So everyone is invited. And Bridget, people can, reserve their seat. Go to our website. It is www.thinkgrowrich.africa. So they can go in there. There will be a pop-up. Just give us your details so we can send you the link, and you can join us tomorrow. So the virtual part is going to start at 6:30, but whoever is available to be with us from 4:30, they're very welcome to do that. So everyone is invited. And I'm very excited. I'm very excited to have the listeners of SAFM to join us in this transformational journey.
No, we absolutely can hear it in your voice. And congratulations to you bringing this platform onto African soil. And of course, all the best for tomorrow's event that is happening tomorrow. So you can join the virtual event on thinkgrowrich.africa is the portal. That was Lerato Sitole joining us on the line. It's fast approaching. Well, it is just a few seconds to go until 1:30. And then Madupi is standing by with your headline news. And then on the other side of this, we're going to come back and get into a very interesting conversation around mothers.
Thank you very much, Bridget, and a very good afternoon. In your headlines this hour, the Constitutional Court has dismissed and reserved costs in the counter-application launched by former President Jacob Zuma seeking the recusal of 6 justices. Parliament's Standing Committee on Finance has cautiously considered and adopted an already drafted report on the Pension Funds Amendment Bill, and the South Korean Prime Minister says foreign doctors will be allowed to work in the country's hospitals after a rigorous vetting process. More news at the top of the hour.
Arts, culture, and robust conversations with Bridget Masinga.
It's just gone 1:30 on this fine Friday afternoon on the Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga. And we want to get into a conversation in light of the fact that it is Mother's Day this coming Sunday. And of course, sticking to that theme for the first hour of the show, we thought we'd invite you for our family meeting to get into a conversation with us about relationships, mother-children relationships, specifically your relationship with your mother. And this thought was sparked by a conversation that was had between Oprah Winfrey and, of course, Brooke Shields and Dr. Anita Phillips, where they explored the concept of mother wounds and the imprint that has on you as a child and as an adult. The essence of what your relationship was like with your mother growing up, and of course what that relationship is now, for the good and for the bad, because not all experiences are good, right? And so we asked the question of you, what is your relationship with your mother? What is that relationship, or what is it like now? And has it gone through an evolution and a genesis through all the years? Maybe it didn't start off all too well. 0614104107 is our WhatsApp line, and 086 is the number you can call us on. In fact, let's play that sound clip from that conversation between Oprah Winfrey, Dr. Anita Phillips, and Brooke Shields.
What do you want to say about the mother wound and why it cuts so deep?
This is a big one.
It's a big one.
Because our mother is our first relationship. I mean, it's the first voice you hear in the womb. And so your mother, or the mother figure in your life, gives you a sense of connection, value, and safety. And those
or
things
not.
Or not, right. They are the source of that. And whatever comes of that, we internalize as a truth. And so the wound cuts deep also because it is the mother-daughter. I see the woman that I should be or could be or might not ever be or was in them. And so it cuts very, very deep.
And that is the essence of our conversation today. And it's not just the relationship between mother-daughter, right? But in the context of that conversation, based on Brooke Shields' memoir, that was the context. But we're opening the conversation to all of us to ask, what is your relationship like with your mom, for the better or for the worst? And was it always good, or is it something that's become good over the years? Some people talk about, because now they are parents themselves and because they've gone through their own life journey and had kids and become adults, they understand their parents better. They understand their mothers better. And perhaps whatever wounds that were formulated in childhood are now finding peace and healing because you are now on the other side and you get to appreciate the journey that your mother went through. And the perspective now shifts and changes. But some people really do still have very difficult and challenging relationships with their mothers. And so we thought we'd have this conversation and ask you to share with us. And of course, because we do realize that it's a very emotive and sensitive conversation, you can share quite anonymously if suits you better. 0614104107 is our WhatsApp line, and 086 0002032. Let's go to Anonymous out in Potch. How are you?
I'm good, and you? How are you? All in the studio?
We are fantastic, thank you. Thank you so much, Anon. Yes.
Yes.
We all, yes.
No, yes. To my side, actually, I had a bad relationship with my mother. Apparently, she didn't raise me. And then she was like, I was raised from one family to another, being abused, tortured until I moved out. I decided to be independent at the age of 15, and a lot has happened. And when I was married, I think I had that void of missing a mother, when people are talking about their mother, and I will not want to start that conversation. And I decided to go back and look for her. And then we started a relationship, but it didn't work out. It didn't work out. So I ended up taking all the love that I have to my kids and doing what I was longing and wishing what my mother would do to me, to my kids. So I'm blessed with 4 kids. I love them. I make sure that I'm full-time parenting with them.
Yes.
Coming back from work and make sure I'm making time for them and listen how was their day.
Beautiful.
Making sure that I assist with homework, and when they are sad, when they are sick, I'm there for them. And this is the thing that I don't know how my mother would do to me, but I was wishing for. So I ended up doing that. Even when I get a job outside to my region, I don't take it because I always think of my kids. I don't want to leave aside. Thank you.
Anon, thank you so much for sharing, and thank you for finding healing in your own journey with your own children. Let's go to the other Anon in Kings Williamstown. How are you?
It is so unfortunate that we all call in and we say the bad things.
Yeah.
You know, and Bridget, I'm a 46-year-old young man in King Williamstown. My mother had me when she was 21.
Yeah.
She had to go away and work as a teacher. And for the most part, I lived with my granny and my great-grand. So I've never called my mom to her. I've always called her by name or CC. As a result, we don't have a relationship. Only yesterday, I reached out to an extended family member, telling him how terrible things are between myself and my mother. The relationship is broken. She finds everything I do for her, she finds fault with everything I do for her, even if to the best. For example, I bought a house when I was 26.
Yeah.
Instead of celebrating that with me, she criticized me and asked if I could not have chosen to go and rent.
Oh, Anon.
I recently bought a car. When she learned about it, she criticized me for not letting her know on time. I probably have told other people except for her. So that's the kind of relationship I have with my mama.
I'm so sorry.
Non-existent.
I'm so sorry.
And at times I blame myself. Maybe it's in the way I approach things, but even my sister is experiencing the same.
Yeah,
So
I'm so
at least
sorry.
I've got her to reach out to, and she understands me. But the relationship is bad. Bad is an understatement. It's terrible.
Yeah. Anon, thank you so much for finding safety to share with us today. And I think that is the essence of why we're having this conversation, is to say, yes, it's beautiful to share and to love and to celebrate and to honor mothers and for all their strength and all their resilience. But some people have very complicated relationships, and some people really do carry what Oprah called in that conversation a mother wound, and that wound needs healing. It needs spaces for it to ventilate and be heard. 0614104107 is our WhatsApp line. Let's go to WhatsApp.
Hi, Bridget. I know here. I had a very difficult relationship with my mom, but in my case, it was based on her religious beliefs and convictions. She is of the Jehovah's Witnesses faith. It was just very difficult, but most of it emanated from her religious convictions. It was just one of those. Thanks, Anukatleho. Sharp.
It does happen. 0614104107, or you can give us a call on 086-000-2032 as we explore a conversation around, your relationship with your mom, particularly. How is that relationship? We're leading into Mother's Day weekend this coming Sunday, and we know that some of these relationships are really burdened with all kinds of residual emotions, and sometimes they weren't always good. They weren't always good in your childhood, and maybe they've evolved to something better in the later years, or maybe they have not. And some people, which is the saddest part, is some people have actually gotten to the point where they've cut all ties with their mothers, not because they wanted to, but because it was the safest thing for them to do, to be able to protect themselves and find healing. And so, we just thought we'd give space for that kind of conversation today. Let's go to WhatsApp.
Hi, Bridget. Nice topic. All I can say is that, guys, let's be honest. Girls and their mothers, it's really rare. It's really rare for those relationships to work. I love my mom, but we fight like cat and dog. We don't get along. We pretend to get along, but we don't get along. She always says, maybe once I have my own kids I'd understand, but I don't think so. I've always been daddy's girl, and I think that's just as far as it goes. I love her. She's my mother, and I respect her. And when I'm home, I do what I need to do as a daughter, and but I don't know anybody who's got a good relationship with their mother. I've never met one. I'm not gonna lie.
Good afternoon, Bridget. My relationship with my mom is a good one because while I was growing up, I always do what she says. I value respect, even though when I started working, I wasn't that child who holds pride that he has money and he doesn't look upon people. So I just humble myself to my parents, to my mom, especially my mom. She humbles herself to me as well because I never change. Whether I'm angry or not, I still show love. Whether I have money or not, I don't look down upon people. That's how I managed to build a well relationship with my mom. Unlike my siblings, grandma by Protea Glen.
The National Pulse on SAFM.
The Kathrada Foundation, they've said something like, we are dismayed by the burning of the flag, and it
Durban is yet again ready to welcome thousands of delegates and buyers who will be attending the Africa Travel Indaba at the Durban ICC from 13th to 16th May. The Indaba, that attracts delegates from across the globe, is the continent's leading travel showpiece. Hosting events of this magnitude continues to position Durban as a business and holiday destination of choice. Durban Tourism, together with community tourism organizations and local businesses, are eager to showcase that indeed Durban has more to offer. Durban is on the move. Join us at stand DEC 1G50. Durban is Africa's leading festival and event destination according to the World Travel Awards 2023.
Dad, what are you getting Mum this Mother's Day?
Well, Dis-Chem has something for every occasion.
Yes, let's go!
Make Mum feel extra special this Mother's Day with fabulous gifts from Dis-Chem pharmacies. Show Mom how much you care with luxury fragrances from Isimiyaki, Red Door, Mont Blanc and Zoe.
Dad, don't forget Mom's favorite foundation.
Of course.
Mother's Day specials valid until 12 May only at Dis-Chem pharmacies. Better health starts here.
Hello, Your Choice Hotline.
Hi, I need you to help me make a choice.
Well, with Ford, you get to make your own choices. Like on brand new Ford Ranger XL, XLT or Wildtrak Super Cabs from only $7,999 per month with no deposit needed. There's a flexible deal for every Super Cab at your nearest Ford dealership today. Your Ford, your choice. TNCs apply. The SABC Fortune Combo radio stations, which includes SAFM, Lotus FM, and Radio 2000, seek the services of a freelance graphic designer who will collaborate with cross-functional teams to create visually compelling assets that align with our receptive brand identities and resonate with our target audiences. The minimum requirements for the position are a bachelor's degree or diploma in graphic design, visual arts, or related field, 2 to 4 years proven experience as a graphic designer with a strong portfolio showcasing a range of design projects. All interested candidates should submit their CVs and portfolio of evidence to vacancy@safm.co.za. Application closed on the 26th of May 2024. For more detailed info, visit www.safm.co.za or follow us on our social media pages at SAFM Radio. SAFM, leading the conversation. You are listening to The Full Circle.
All right, so let's get into Africa Rising, the music conference, which is happening at the end of the month right here in Newtown. And we've got Namakau Sajija joining me now. And Namakau is the co-organizer of the conference. How are you doing today?
I am doing very well. Thank you so much for having me.
It's only a pleasure. So we're celebrating 30 years of democracy and obviously 30 years of music in this democratic dispensation. And you guys thought you would honor this particular national theme this year as part of your Africa Rising Music Conference. Tell me what's on the lineup over 2 days.
Yes, so we have curated a very special program this year that does lean into the theme of us being 30 years in a music democracy. And yeah, we have just a full day program of speakers from the likes of Busiswa. We'll be unpacking music activism and how, artists and organizations have had to navigate building the music industry as we know it. And we also have South Africa as a focus country this year, which is just basically a means for us to spotlight how far we've come as a country and how we are currently at the forefront of music and pop culture as we know it, as it stands.
You say that South Africa is the focus country this year. Expand on that for us, because I know that you also sort of doing this with a host of other speakers from the likes of the UK, Germany, Canada, and so the list goes.
Yes. So annually, we choose to focus on 2 countries, and this is basically a way for us to kind of bring international delegates over and engage on what is happening in our country and what is happening in their country. So this year, the UK is our international focus, and that's a way for us to create a platform for mobility and how we can get artists traveling. We believe that you don't need to be an A-lister to be a touring artist, and this is just basically a gateway platform for industry engagement. And conversely, this applies for our international focus countries, because they are also looking for ways to engage with African countries in a meaningful way, in a way that's actually sustainable and not necessarily just taking from the culture. So we facilitate this by having focuses and also talking about challenges in respective territories, because no one territory is perfect, and you can see the gaps in different places, and we unpack all of these things at the conference.
And interesting also, you allude to the shift musically and how SA has sort of claimed a dominance within that space. It'd be interesting to also hear the perspective of, how that becomes cemented so that it's not just a moment.
Exactly. It's more about sustainable music culture in terms of, I think technology has made virality such an amazing thing where there's no gatekeeping on how our country is seen and how we are experienced. And you've seen just like this explosion of what our culture has to offer and seeing it put on a global platform. But I think the gap for us, and something that makes the conference special, is how do smaller artists participate in this, big explosion? How do industry execs see themselves putting in? How do upcoming music execs see themselves contributing to this explosion, and really seek to ensure that these conversations are had in a meaningful way, and creating meaningful outcomes such as travel and bookings and networking sessions where people can get more insight on how they are using their community and networks to grow themselves in the music industry.
Yeah. 27th and 28th of May in Newtown is when it's all happening. Is it by reservation? How does it work if one is interested in attending the conference?
Okay, so we have tickets that are now live on Web Tickets, and we have general access tickets as well as VIP tickets. So you can have all this information online. We have started announcing the program with all the different industry counterparts and leaders that are participating. So you'll see on our page the speakers that have been announced, the brands that are working with us. And so VIP and general access are available. There's also a nighttime showcase, and that's more like a showcase for local and international acts to kind of have fun after the conference and experience what the music and entertainment side of the whole conference is about.
Yeah. Namakau, we appreciate the time with you today. That was Namakau, who's the co-organizer of this year's the Africa Rising Music Conference happening on the 27th and 28th of May out in Newtown. And of course, you can secure your tickets for this particular one if you have a vested interest in the business of music. It's just gone 10 to 2 o'clock. It's time for Nalibali, which should run us to the top of the hour. And then Madupi is coming with the 2 o'clock news.
Welcome to Nali Bali. When you listen to stories together with your friends and parents, it provides endless opportunities for discussions and creative play in which we try to reenact the parts of the stories. By consistently listening to clear and fluent speech, children improve their own speech and language skills, which helps them become better communicators. Additionally, hearing interesting story plots prompts the young listeners to approach others and ask questions out loud, which helps to build confidence. Today's story is called How Fireflies Got Their Glow, written by Vuyokazi Ngemtu. But before we listen to today's story, let's all get up and dance! Many years ago, there lived a boy as tall as you are, with eyes as bright as yours, whose name was Thandikaya. Thandikaya loved herding his father's cows, and he especially loved the dark brown Nguni cow named Besengile. One morning, Thandikaya walked the cows along the Nwara River to his favorite pastures. There he sat under his favorite thorn tree and took out his pen pipe. He played many beautiful songs while the cows filled their bellies with the lush green grass. Thandikaya also liked to sing. There was one song that he knew the cows loved too. He knew this because every time he sang that song, they would flock towards him no matter how far they had wandered. Then he would easily count the cows.
Okay, there should be 17 cows.
Thandikaya said. Then he sang.
Mazbu inkomo zam, mazbu inkomo zam, ilanga liyatshona, ifunu kugoduka, mazbu inkomo zam.
This song means, come back my cows, come back my cows, the sun is setting, I want to go home. Come back my cows. As Thandikaya sang, the cows gathered around him and he started to count.
1, 2, Yawen, go that side, I'm trying to count. 3, 4.
When he got to 16, he looked around in shock.
Oh no, there should be 17 cows, but there are only 16. One of the cows is missing, and it's my favorite cow, Besengile. Where can she be?
Thandikaya felt very worried. He sang his song again, searching everywhere, but he could not find Besengile anywhere. Thandikaya was very scared. The sun was almost starting to set, and Thandikaya knew his parents would be worried if he didn't return home soon. So he sat down under his favorite thorn tree to think.
What should I do? I have to find Besengile, and how will I find my way home in the dark?
Oh, shame, Thandikaya. Tears rolled down his cheeks. The cows bellowed as if they were upset too. Suddenly, a little birdie landed above Thandikaya's head in the thorn tree.
Oh no, Thandikaya, what's the matter?
The little birdie asked. Once Thandikaya had explained the problem, the little bird chirped out a cry for help. But the only creatures who heeded her call were the flies.
How can we help?
Asked the flies as they swarmed around Thandikaya and the cows. Once the little birdie had explained the problem, the flies said,
Okay, we'll fly to the nearest home and ask for help.
And off they went. But when the flies reached the home, one of them fell into a cooking fire.
Oh no!
cried all the flies, but instead of burning, the fly flew out of the fire covered in the most brilliant glowing light. It was bright yellow, and it lit up everywhere around him.
Oh, how wonderful!
Gasped all the other flies, and without hesitation, they all flew into the fire. They too wanted the bright and shiny color. Soon all the flies glowed brightly. They flew back to the pastures where they found Thandikaya still crying.
Oh, no. Don't cry, Thandikaya. Let's go and look for the missing cow. We will light your way.
The flies said. Thandikaya followed the path made by the glowing flies, calling Besengile as he went. Finally, he heard a soft...
Is that? No! Oh my gosh, it's Besengile!
Thandikaya said, smiling happily. Then he ran into the direction of the sound. Soon he found Besengile. She had wandered into a cave and got lost. Thandikaya led her back to where the other cows were waiting. Then they all started walking home together. The bright, glowing flies lit their way, and Thandikaya and the cows followed them until they all were safely back in his father's kraal. And that is how fireflies got their glow. If you're ever in the forest at night, you might also see these magical insects glowing in the dark. If you do, please remember to thank them for helping Thandikaya find his missing cow. And so we come to the end of another Nali Bali story time. Today's story was called How Fireflies Got Their Glow, written by Vuyokazi Ngemtu. Did you know that reading and telling stories to children at home can help them do better at school? If you want free stories to read to your children or for your children to enjoy on their own, visit Nali Bali website www.nalibali.org or Mobi site www.nalibali.mobi. You will find stories in 11 South African languages, as well as tips for reading and sharing stories with your children to grow their potential. Also look out for the bilingual Nali Bali Reading for Enjoyment supplements with great children's stories and activities available in newspapers. Nali Bali, it starts with a story.
The SAFM University Debate Challenge is back. Join us for the 1 hour debate on This Week Today with Oliver Dixon from 6 to 7 p.m. on Friday, the 10th of May 2024 at the SABC Auditorium in Auckland Park, Johannesburg. The University of Pretoria will take on the University of Witwatersrand in what promises to be a nail-biting debate. The SAFM University Debate Challenge is an independent, non-partisan progressive initiative seeking to develop confident communicators, critical thinkers, and empowered global citizens. If you want to attend the debate, you can email info@safm.co.za. SAFM, leading the conversation.
Top stories at 2 o'clock. Yet another legal setback for Jacob Zuma and the DA to continue to sue the SABC. A very good afternoon. Starting with election-related news, the Constitutional Court has dismissed and reserved costs in the counter-application launched by former President Jacob Zuma seeking the recusal of 6 justices. The court handed down the order a short while ago. Zuma relied on a section of the Constitution which stipulates that a matter before the Apex Court must be heard by a minimum of 8 justices. Zuma, through his legal counsel, argued that there was a reasonable apprehension of bias. Zoleka Kotashe reports.
The basis for the recusal application is that the bench would have to interpret the contempt matter that saw a 15-month sentence being meted out against the former president. However, the justices probed Zuma's counsel, Advocate Dalim Mpofu Senior Counsel, on the test of reasonable apprehension of bias. The test for the reasonable apprehension of bias is that the suspicion of bias must be that of a reasonable person. Mpofu argued that this must be viewed from Zuma's perspective. Zoleka Kotashe, SABC News, Constitutional Court.
DA leader John Steenhuisen says the move by the SABC not to air the DA's election advertisement is politically motivated. He was speaking in Makushane in Phalaborwa, Limpopo during the party's election campaign. The ad depicts the South African flag burning. Steenhuisen alleges that the move was also influenced by President Cyril Ramaphosa and Sports Minister Zizi Kodwa. He says the party will continue with legal actions against the SABC. The death toll in the George building collapse in the Western Cape has risen to 12. This after 3 more bodies were pulled out of the rubble, leaving 41 people still unaccounted for. The latest update was given at a media briefing hosted by Western Cape Premier Alan Winde at the Joint Operations Centre at the Garden Route Municipality. District Disaster Head Gerard Otto says the identification process has been difficult and they're using DNA testing, fingerprints and photos to try and identify some of the deceased. Parliament's Standing Committee on Finance has cautiously considered and adopted an already drafted report on the Pension Funds Amendment Bill. The report, which is already available, includes changes that the NCOP made recently when it passed the bill with amendments. The bill was sent back to the National Assembly to either agree or disagree with the changes. The bill is one of 2 bills that seek to make provision for the 2-pot system. The aim is to allow pension fund members to access 1/3 of their funds from the savings pot. And to end, the South Korean Prime Minister Han Duck-soo says that foreign doctors will be allowed to work in the country's hospitals after a rigorous vetting process. The government is locked in a protracted standoff with its doctors who are striking over plans to increase the number of admissions to medical schools. Taking another look at your top story at 2 o'clock, the Constitutional Court has dismissed and reserved costs in the counter-application launched by former President Jacob Zuma seeking the recusal of 6 justices. For SAFM News, Kemudupi Makhalemele.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
And we will buy 500 cars and we will buy 500 more. Just to be the one who buys your car, will come to you and offer more. We buy cars, we buy cars. We buy cars, we buy cars.
We Buy Cars, the easiest way to sell your car by far.
For the first time in 30 years, the ANC is set to lose its majority. Opposition parties have united as the multi-party charter for South Africa.
A strong democratic alliance with a proven track record
Can anchor a new government that serves the people.
But a new government that works is only possible if you vote for it. Let's unite to rescue South Africa. Vote DA.
This political party advertisement was paid for by the political party concerned. The views expressed in this advertisement are those of the political party and not those of the SABC.
The final stretch comes with high emotions and pressure keeps mounting. RB Leipzig are gunning for maximum points on home soil, but their visitors from Bremen believe in the power of 3 points. They want victory for themselves. This is the Bundesliga. Football as it's meant to be. Catch RB Leipzig versus Werder Bremen on Saturday 11 May at 3 p.m. live on SABC3. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Hashtag We Love It Here. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
The SABC Fortune Combo radio stations, which includes SAFM, Lotus FM, and Radio 2000, Seek the services of a freelance graphic designer who will collaborate with cross-functional teams to create visually compelling assets that align with our receptive brand identities and resonate with our target audiences. The minimum requirements for the position are a bachelor's degree or diploma in graphic design, visual arts, or related field, 2 to 4 years proven experience as a graphic designer with a strong portfolio showcasing a range of design projects. All interested candidates should submit their CVs and portfolio of evidence to vacancy@safm.co.za. Application closed on the 26th of May 2024. For more detailed info, visit www.safm.co.za or follow us on our social media pages at SAFM Radio. SAFM, leading the conversation. The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
Since I come home, well, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you like the dress. I want you to come on over and stop making a fool out of me. Why don't you come on over, but your house on up for sale. Did you get a good lawyer? Hope you didn't catch a 10. Hope you found the right man who'll fix it for you. Are you shopping anywhere? Change the color of your hair. Are you busy? And did you have to pay that fine that you was dodging all the time? Are you since I come home, well, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you like the dress. Won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me. Why don't you come on over, I go out by myself and I look across the water and I think about all the things I do, and in my head I paint a picture. But since I come home, well, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you like the dress. Won't you come on over?
It is Amy Winehouse. Valerie is the name of the song, bringing us into 10 past 2, the other side of our 2 o'clock hour on the Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga. We're going to explore a conversation around sustainable tourism with Celine Brophy, who is a travel writer, and of course, sustainable travel and tourism as policies that respect the social cultural authenticity of host communities and provide socio-economic benefits for all. This is part of what she writes, and we're going to find out a bit more about what this means, within our localized context and, of course, in practice in the tourism sector. Celine, how are you doing this afternoon?
Hi, it's great to be joining you guys and, to share a bit more about it with your SAFM audience.
Thank you for taking the time. I think it's definitely a concept that's been thrown around within the tourism sector and tourism industry by various stakeholders, but probably still a concept that a lot of us are trying to better understand. So maybe take us to the very base of it, of when we talk sustainable tourism, what in essence are we talking about?
Sure, Bridget. It's a complicated, complex topic, and it can feel overwhelming for many, from the stakeholder side, travel businesses, to the actual tourist. But at the end of the day, it boils down to tourism being a vehicle for good, for having a good impact, whether that be on the economy, the society or communities of local people within those destinations, over and above all, a good impact in the particular destination and the environment as a whole. So as you can see, it's almost as weighty as our big five. It's a few big pillars within this broader global-based sustainable tourism topic.
And what has pushed the industry to start having a conversation around what sustainability looks like within the travel and tourism sector?
Sure. I mean, we know, for instance, COPE, global warming, all of these very serious discussions amongst, the key countries across the world, the GP7, it's all about that 1%. If the Earth heats up more than 1% come 2030, 2050, which is the overarching, deadlines, the fact of the matter is that things are going to get incredibly bad. What we're currently seeing now is we're already seeing the impact of climate change, the impact of how we've just been dealing with the basics of industry, agriculture. And what sustainable tourism is looking to address is its niche within this overarching target that we all have to just treat, the earth better, to ensure that that 1% doesn't set in motion major, and when I say 1%, the 1% increase in temperature, in heating, things that's going to have ramifications across the globe. It already is. We're seeing it. Just how can we do things better? There are jargony terms like carbon offsetting, reducing your footprint. But the fact of the matter is, it's just coming down to how do you travel? How can you travel where it's having less of an impact on the earth and in a way making a difference for yourself as well as the destinations and the people that you're encountering along those travel.
The World Tourism Organization, Celine, describes sustainable travel and tourism as policies that respect the socio-cultural authenticity of host communities and provide socio-economic benefits for all. Now, what does this look like, in practice, in community, and what does this speak to by way of considerations for those who operate within said, areas?
Sure. Look, as I said, There are already situations in play. I can draw context to the current flooding that's happening within East Africa's countries of Kenya, Tanzania, across something that is globally renowned, the Great Migration region. So the Serengeti and the Masai Mara. Sustainable tourism around that is like, at the moment, there are a number of lodges that have been greatly impacted by the flooding. There wasn't a sustainable approach to how close to the river should a lodge be built. That's one way of looking at it. Another instance is what kind of sustainable solutions have been put in place to leverage those communities. It's as simple as, are people within that particular country, any country's tourism sector, being paid a living wage? Are their lives improved in it? And I think that's what the stakeholders are grappling with. There's policy and so forth, but on the ground, individual operators, individual people running businesses. Tourism is one of the most powerful industries for job creation. We know in South Africa we have a huge unemployment situation, especially with our youth over 50%. So it's a vehicle for addressing many socioeconomic challenges. And it's not to look at the whole issue in its entirety, but to break it down into little chunks. I mean, I can give you some workable examples. So for instance, Table Mountain Aerial Company, they've looked at little ways that they can minimize the impact, their waste consumption. We've all gone through the campaigns or seen the campaigns around the use of plastics. It's the long-term impact of the things we do, the things we use, and everything within that tourism value chain that in the long term, is it going to have an impact for good? Is it going to make a difference, or is it going to make things markedly worse? Another example, for instance, Penda Private Game Reserve. They're well known for their conservation efforts. So it's understanding this mix of supporting businesses that have fully fledged programs in place. There's reporting. You can see how it makes a difference. It's not just a case of saying we are a sustainable tourism business, or we're trying to put responsible tourism programs in place. There needs to be tangible ways. In fact, it's a global trend from some of our biggest inbound markets, from the US across Europe, that they want to make, tourists want to make informed, responsible choices, but they also want to know, how does that, if they're paying a sustainability tax, or they're paying a parks levy fee when they're entering private game reserves, how is it being used? What are the benefits? What does it translate into, so that they can see a tangible impact, a tangible change?
And interestingly enough, South Africa has been sort of flouted as being a budget-friendly, sustainable destination. So what are we getting right in this respect?
Sure. When you compare exchange rates, we're certainly budget friendly. I mean, even if you look at the latest stats that's come out from Stats SA, the influx of Pan-African tourists, that's predominantly our major markets, we are an affordable destination. At the end of the day, though, it's what happens within that value chain. Like, we can be making lists, like TripAdvisor just included Camps Bay on its new sustainable beaches list. That ties in with measurement of, the water, the quality of the beach, sand, litter, and all of those things, the Blue Flag Beach program, and everything that certification requires for that. So the two are interlinked. But at the end of the day, how are we making that tangible for travelers, for tourists, for locals? So it's all good and well that we can have these lists. Yes, we are affordable, but it comes back down to on the ground situations where it's really tangible. I think I can't stress that more. It's really as simple as, how does this tourism business, or how does my trip make a difference? And to be mindful of that. If you're needing to take 6 flights in order to experience a particular thing, it's not necessarily the most sustainable option. You know, taking a train, maybe looking at visiting attractions or things within a particular region. Like if we take, for instance, our Golden Triangle, which would be speak to Cape Town, Durban, going into Kruger, in and around, Mpumalanga, visiting things, key attractions that you can only see in Gauteng, our cultural and heritage things. How are you going to do that? Do you have to fly to each destination? Is there an option to do it more sustainably? So those are all simple considerations, but they're not mainstream, and it shouldn't be approached in an overwhelming way, I would say.
Yeah. And I think what you sort of segue us into as well is the concept of sustainable tourist. And making travel matter, right? And there's been this also conversation around more tourists being conscious of their own personal impact in the countries and the places, which often obviously boil down to communities that they ultimately visit.
Exactly. I had an interesting conversation just this morning on LinkedIn where somebody was talking about a couple that had visited Vietnam. They'd seen an Instagram version of the destination, but in reality, they were not happy with it. You know, it didn't fit the polished bill that they were seeing. So we really need to be mindful. We need to be measured in what's real and what gets, like, for want of a better term, Instagram washed when it comes to particular destinations. You can bring that back to an example in Cape Town's Boekop. Everyone wants to get the Instagram, image around the colorful houses, but does that improve the situation for that community, that neighborhood? Like, where does it all connect the dots to make it a good, sustainable tourism product that is an incredible experience for the tourist? The tourist feels like they're adding value, and it then also gives back to the community. So, yeah, it's really about measuring your expectations, choosing your destination carefully, not thinking that everything is a glamorous image that you're going to see on social media. There are so many interesting resources out there to be able to do research, to excite yourself about travel and the different trips that you're going to take, even in our own backyard. There's so much. So, yeah, it's an important conversation. And I think if we all just bring it back to how can I be more responsible? But at the end of the day, there is the counter argument that it shouldn't necessarily always fall on the consumer, on the tourist.
Yeah.
But it's step by step. We can't be overwhelmed by the overarching issue of sustainability and protecting the planet and making a difference through tourism. It's definitely a vehicle for that, but it needs to be approached in a measurable way, in a real way.
So then you've got me thinking, as you use the example, for instance, of the Boekop, and placing the question that, okay, so after you've gotten your aesthetically beautiful Instagram image and your memory of being amongst, the color and the splendor, how does that impact and how does that change the life of the people whose privacy and homes you've essentially wandered into, right? Because the neighborhoods belong to people. And we've all been guilty of this. As you said it, I thought, I went to Cape Town with my mom last year and I did exactly that.
And we do that. Our Boekop houses is France's Paris, the Eiffel Tower in Paris. There are these pictures we want to get. And you can't take away from the enjoyment, the enrichment of travel. But as you said, are you going to go and then book a local tour with a tour guide who's going to give you the ins and outs of that neighborhood was actually the epicenter of, the Cape Malay slave trade back in the 1800s?
Yeah.
Are you going to do a cooking class? Or, how are you going to get a little bit deeper than those cool, fun images? We can't shy away from it. That we all do that. We all enjoy it. And as I said, it's that mindfulness. Yeah.
And I think You definitely enlighten us all to be a little bit more mindful about, because when we speak imprint, sometimes you want to leave neighborhoods and people a little bit richer than what you found them. And by that, I mean, as you said, did you book the local tour guide? Did you eat at the local restaurant? Did you take that cooking class offered by, Dani Helga? Did you do something that added to the richness and the fulfillment of a family? And I think at times maybe it's easier for tourists to think in that context, maybe when they explore things like safaris, right? Because safaris then take you into rural communities who are part of a conservation. And so you almost innately then ask those questions. It becomes easier for you to say, well, how is this private lodge enriching this community or uplifting this community? But what kind of questions should we be considered of ourselves and of course of the people with whom we are using services or people that we are booking accommodation with?
It's a very valid point. Are we asking the right questions? And there's no shame in of the lodge. What percentage of your staff is local? Confidently informing yourself that if that lodge has 80% of its staff sourced from the surrounding community, even things like where they purchase their farm-to-table organic goods. Many of them, the safari experience is coupled with things like wellness, coupled with things like the dining, authentic meals experience. So it's creating a list of questions, and I think there are many organizations, from Fair Trade to World Travel Market Africa has the Responsible Tourism Awards. There are these indicators and these flags, but sometimes if you're speaking to the concierge, if you're speaking to your travel agent, it's a case of just, what is it doing for the local community? How many staff is local? That's good. And I mean, it's not just a case of, are these the staff that's the waiters? Do you have local communities within your management sector, your C-suite and that kind of thing? It's becoming commonplace for people to inform themselves. I don't think it's necessarily everybody, but there's definitely that traveling set of responsible travelers who all want to be more informed. Bigger booking platforms are creating, for instance, International TUI Group, they're creating sustainable icons and badges. And I mean, yes, badges are one thing, but as I said, that communication, that informing yourself and asking the right questions does help.
Absolutely. Celine Bruffy, thank you for the time. And of course, Celine is a travel writer chatting to us around matters of sustainable tourism. We all have a role to play in these conversations. And just this week, we were talking about, how do we become active citizens and how do we hold people, particularly at the local region, to account for things. And I guess even in our leisure time, we have to continue this kind of behavior and this line of thinking. It has to be a thread within our entire lifestyles. Even when you go on vacation, be conscious of, the sustainability impact of things and ask the questions that you think you, as a member of that said community, might like to know, or the things that might benefit you, and find out if people actually do benefit. It's 2:30. It's time for the headline news.
Thank you very much, Bridget, and a very good afternoon. With your headlines, ke Mudupi Makhalemele. Former State Security Minister Bongani Bongo and 7 accused, including 3 companies, have been acquitted by the Nelspruit Commercial Crimes Court in Mbombela, Mpumalanga. The Constitutional Court has dismissed and reserved costs in the counter-application launched by former President Jacob Zuma, seeking the recusal of 6 justices, and the death toll in the George building collapse in the Western Cape has risen to 12. Details of these and other stories coming up at 3.
Nna lebitso la ka ke Bonolo Moahlodi Dibantsweng ba re ke Miss B, Morara Miss T, Moahlodi, the Bonnie B Bonbon. And we'll be now playing Kena on Mondays at 4:30. The day has changed, but the time slot hasn't. So if you're interested in news that's happening with us kids and our peers around the world, don't forget to tune in. See you there.
DA leader John Steenhuisen. What qualifies the DA to run the country?
Firstly, we do not tolerate corruption. And where the DA governs, life is better. And that is why millions of South Africans are moving to DA governments. We still have much more to do. But in the past year, the Western Cape created over 300,000 new jobs and is working every day to become load shedding free. We can bring this DA difference to the rest of South Africa, but only if you vote for the DA.
This political party advertisement was paid for by the political party concerned. The views expressed in this advertisement are those of the political party and not those of the SABC.
Catch the Tastemaster SA this Tuesday at 7 on SABC2. After surviving the first elimination challenge, 12 remaining contestants must work in teams to create the ultimate baked gift for Mother's Day. Teamwork, creativity and design all play a role in deciding who comes out on top. That's the Tastemaster SA. Tuesdays at 7, repeat Wednesdays at 1 and Sundays at 4 p.m. on SABC2.
The SAFM University Debate Challenge is back. Join us for the 1-hour debate on This Week Today with Oliver Dixon from 6 to 7 p.m. on Friday, the 10th of May 2024 at the SABC Auditorium in Auckland Park, Johannesburg. The University of Pretoria will take on the University of Witwatersrand in what promises to be a nail-biting debate. The SAFM University Debate Challenge is an independent, non-partisan progressive initiative seeking to develop confident communicators, critical thinkers, and empowered global citizens. If you want to attend the debate, you can email info@safm.co.za. SAFM, leading the conversation. Arts, culture, and robust conversations with Bridget Masinga.
We're wrapping up the show and wrapping up a week. What a week it's been. How quickly time flies. I was saying to a member of my team that, geez, it was just yesterday that everybody was on December vacation and we were sort of holding the fort, and then boom, next thing we know, it's the middle of May. Can you believe it? How quickly things have flown by. Anyway, we were having quite the interesting conversation with you earlier on as we were reflecting on our relationships with our primary caregivers, our mothers particularly. And of course, this was sparked by a conversation that Oprah had a couple of weeks ago talking about mother wounds with the actress and model Brooke Shields. And we thought we'd bring this conversation to the show today and have a family meeting about it. It is Mother's Day on Sunday, and we know we're going to be celebrating moms and honoring them and posting them and loving and doting in them. And that's a beautiful thing, right? It's a great thing, because when that relationship is healthy and safe and nurturing and loving, it just is. It does the world of wonder for everybody in the household. However, we also cannot ignore the fact that sometimes that relationship is quite rocky and it's quite unhealthy and, it's quite unbalanced and maybe even lingers into your adulthood, and it becomes heavy on the heart, heavy on the soul. And a lot of us walk around with mother wounds, right? A lot of you walk around with mother wounds that you're just trying to find healing from. And so we thought, let's open up the conversation today looking at exactly that. Let's have a family meeting around exactly that between you and I. And let's explore the different dynamics that exist within the mother relationship for you. And some could be good and some could be bad. And some could be at a place of healing and a place of peace. And some could be evolving with the years where they're becoming redefined and reimagined for what they could possibly be. 0614104107 is our WhatsApp line. Let's go to WhatsApp.
Hi, Bridget. Excellent discussion on mothers. Thank you. I was moved to call after one of your despairing messages from a previous caller who said she doesn't know of any woman that's got a good relationship with her mother. And I just wanted to offer some hope and say do not despair. My wife has got a good relationship with her mother, and my two sisters have an excellent relationship with our mother. I actually envy them and wish I could have as good a relationship with our mother. It's just that due to financial reasons, I currently it prevents me currently. Thanks, Farai.
Hi, Bridget. This is Hope here. I am a mom, a single mom of 4, and I've got a good relationship with my firstborn, especially. And I thank God because we understand. Yes, we fight once in a while, but I believe that we have a good bonding with each other. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Hello, Bridget. Kabelo here. Beautiful topic. I've got the most amazing relationship with my mother. I'm a mama's boy, hey? My mama's baby. We've always been close. We've been close for years now, since I was born. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful relationship that I have with my mom. We share literally everything. Everything. Even my wife knows that I'm a mama's baby. And yeah, she's kind of okay with it. Yeah. Thank you.
Hello, Bridget. Such a very deep conversation, especially celebrating Mother's Day on Sunday. You know, I think for me, I was just lucky that I was surrounded by loving, caring, and phenomenal women, including my mother and my paternal aunt and one of my maternal aunt. They were like my mothers. And then when I worked in Cape Town, I also had another mother who was very, very loving and caring. But that being said, my relationship with my mother was never perfect because I was, in a way, the first one in the family. And, you know, Bridget, as they say that, you know, daughters are the first love, I think, of their fathers, and sons are the first love of their mothers. So I guess in nature, that is just given that, you know, daughters might have that sometimes, I would say, tense relationship with their mothers. But my mothers were just beautiful. They're late now, but we're just beautiful human beings. This is Sepiso.
Good afternoon, Bridget. My relationship with my mom is a good one because while I was growing up, I always do what she says. I value respect, even though when I started working, I wasn't that child who holds pride that he has money and he doesn't look upon people. So I just humble myself to my parents, to my mom, especially my mom. She humbles herself to me as well because I never changed. Whether I'm angry or not, I still show love. Whether I have money or not, I don't look down upon people. That's how I managed to build a weird relationship with my mom. Unlike my siblings, grandma by Protea Glen.
I actually thought I was the only one that was going through this, like mother and daughter, you know, drama. But then I feel like sons and mothers are more close than daughters and mothers.
Hi, Bridget and SFM listeners. This is Kalesam in Wheatbank. How I'd describe my relationship with my mom. I'd say we moved from worse to bad. Now we're better, going for good. But my aim is the pinnacle of perfection. Okay. What encouraged this transition was at that time she was my girlfriend. She explained to me the awkwardness created by the uneasiness between me and my mom that she felt. So I decided to tone down on my anger towards her. That is my mom. And then when my son was born, it felt like she was giving it her all, as if Maybe she was writing her wrong. I don't know, but that's what it felt like. So that on its own, it made us to move from tolerance to genuinity. Ever since, me and my mom, I think we're cool now. Thanks.
And I like that because, there's room for healing no matter how complicated relationships get at times. If one or both parties is invested in the healing and trying to just come one step closer towards understanding of the other person. I think the other thing that, one picks up if you've been in a position where you've been afforded the privilege of going to counseling, for instance, you really do realize that our parents are not just parents, but they're individuals that also have their own life stories. Before they were your mom or your dad, they were someone's daughter. And there was someone's sibling, and they themselves carry so much injury and so much hurt that they might not even be aware of and might not have the tools, the emotional tools to even start to articulate because they themselves have just been trying to protect themselves for all these years, and so maybe they didn't even have the capacity to give you what you needed at the time because they didn't know how to, because they didn't get that from their caregivers either. And there's a lot of healing that needs to happen in so many of our families and so many of our environments. And someone just wrote us a message saying the topic today is touching, as many of us don't have good relationships with our mothers because of so many dynamics, especially in Black culture. And it's good to those who are in good terms. But what a tough topic. And I think we have these because not all of our family meetings are going to be, happy, jolly, keying. Some of them are going to be about us really just digging deep into our emotions as we try to find our individual and collective healing. So thank you so much for sharing. And if there is space for you to begin the journey towards healing for yourself and your mother this Mother's Day, may you find the strength and the bravery to be the first person who tries. Even if you're trying again, it might just be, this might be the year where things are different. You know what I mean? This might be the year where she's open to receiving what you're trying to share and what you're trying to tell her that you're feeling. Let's take a quick break and then we'll come back and we'll wrap things up on a positive note with Black Motion. They've come together and we've got Thabo Small, who's one of the founding members, to tell us what the group looks like now in 2024 and going beyond.
The Chill Zone with Bertha Charuma.
When do you know this is not good for me? This is not healthy at all.
One of the things that we often talk about is you've got to look at your ratio of good times versus bad times and look at the extent of which the bad times are. All relationships will have certain ups and downs, but you shouldn't be spending more time crying. You shouldn't be spending more time sad, unhappy because of the relationship than you do happy. People tend to focus too much on the good and ignore the bad, and that's the problem.
Linda Yende joining us, relationship coach.
Bertha Charuma, Fridays 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. You are listening to The Full Circle.
Mashakanga Zichomitsanga Ndikotaka Azikhona netsanga Mashakanga Zichomitsanga Ndikotaka Raswino Swino zichomi tsanga ndikotaka adzikhona netsanga mashakanga zichomi tsanga ndikotaka adzikhona netsanga ndi mutakalo swino ndikotakara swino ndikotaka adzikhona netsanga mashakanga zichomi tsanga ndikotaka adzikhona netsanga mashakanga zichomi tsanga ndikotaka adzikhona netsanga
Mara ne baruwile ka baisikile Kara ne baruwile ka baisikile Kara ne baruwile ka baisikile Batlanga 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 Batlanga
ndi mutakalo swino ndikotakara swino ndikotaka adzikhona netsanga mashakanga zichomi tsanga ndikotaka adzikhona netsanga mashakanga zichomi tsanga ndikotaka raswino.
It is Black Motion coming through. It's a brand new song by the group. Takala Zwino is the title of this one. And I'm told that it's about savoring the good times. Joining us now, we've got one of the founding members of Black Motion, Thabo Small, joining me on the line. They got stuck in Durban, unfortunately, and couldn't make it through for full access. So we completely understand flights letting them down this afternoon. How are you doing today? Thabo? Hello? I think we are having some connection difficulties with the guys. I mean, it's 10 minutes before we wrap up the show, and we've been trying to get a handle on the line. Well, get a handle on the line from their end, and I think they're having some technical issues. They were supposed to be in studio with us. In fact, Shaman, they did send the apologies as we began the show because flights had gotten delayed coming out of Durban, and so they didn't make it through. And we had tried and said that we're going to bring this conversation telephonically. And I think just from a connection perspective, I seem to be hearing some audio now. Thabo, how are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm fantastic. Thank you. Can't complain. All right. We just played the new one from you. Am I on speaker by any chance?
Yeah. Let me just check. Yeah. No.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, because we're just getting some reverb. All right, talk to us about Takala Zwino, a brand new track. We just played it now. and it's about savoring the good times.
Yeah, man. Takalazwino, simply meaning let's be happy. Me and my friends, me and my relatives, me and my circle. We've been just going through a whole lot of weird times in SA, and almost every week there's just bad news. And what better way of just creating a beautiful song that has just positive message to spread. And yeah, man, Takalazwino, Bucks came through with it, African Roots came through with it, Nyex again, he came through with it. He saw us in studio, and he made the connection work, and here we are today celebrating Zwino.
And I mean, this is much awaited because fans of Black Motion have been waiting for some kind of reassembling of the group. So does this mean we've turned a different leaf and we are ready to release music now and get back on the road as Black Motion?
Yeah, definitely. We've been on the road. It's just that we were just trying to make the brand stronger in terms of performances, and make the brand take Vela the rebrand of the performance. And we had to just fill in people, and we had to just make sure that the performances are solid before we get on the issues with songs and getting out there performing songs that are new. So yeah, man, we just had to get ready first, and yeah, here we are again.
Yeah, are we moving forward as a collective now? I see you mentioned DJ Bucks and African Roots obviously collaborating with you on this song Takalazwino, but do they now form part of Black Motion as a new collective?
No. African Roots has been killing. African Roots has been there, man. And one of the biggest reason why we have this song is African Roots. And yeah, man, we started as this big group, Black boys in Soshanguve, all of us. And yeah, man, as we grew, there was African Roots, and there was Black Motion, and there was DJ Bucks. So yeah, man, we move as a brand, or as a movement of brands. And yeah, that's what we're going to be killing right now. Also Murder, collaboratively we're going to be together, and yeah, we're just going to be making music together. African Roots, Black Motion, DJ Bucks, and Murder.
Is this symbolizing maybe even sort of from a musical perspective, what does this mean for Black Motion? Because you guys obviously, when you entered the music scene at the time back in 2010, you really gave such a dynamic sort of presentation of dance house music, which made you stand out a crop above the rest. And now moving into 2024, are there considerations around how Black Motion presents itself to its audiences, both old and new audiences, in new ways, or are you still keeping to the ethos of what people have come to love from you?
Like on this song, what a whole lot of people are saying is that it's just taking them back to the days of tribal house music. So we move with the times, but obviously keeping that signature, keeping that Black Motion signature, and having to make people understand that in the music industry you have to just keep
Tabo, did you move a little?
With the times, but also which is what we did as well on this track. So it was just... Hello?
Yes, now I can hear you
Hello?
clearly. Yes. Go ahead. You were saying with the times.
Oh, yeah. So we have to be moving with the times, but obviously not forgetting our roots. So yeah, man, it's all about keeping that signature, but also introducing some things new. It's performance, whether it's new instruments or whether it's that new sound, but fusing with that old Black Motion. And yeah, we're just gonna form beautiful music for everyone, the young, the old, in the middle, everyone, every color, every race. Yeah, man, just anyone.
And in terms of the full project, the new full project, I know Takala Zwino obviously being the lead record coming out of that. What can folks expect from the full project, and when does that release, or is it already out?
Takala Zwino is right now just a single that is leading to an EP or a full body of work. We're just gonna start discuss with the guys, African Roots and DJ Box, whether we're going straight for the for the album, the full album, or is it just gonna be an EP? But there seems to be a lot of dope songs, so I think we're just gonna go for an album. So we still need to discuss the date, the release dates, and stuff like that.
I see. Okay, so you've already worked and recorded material, new material. It's just a matter of you guys now deciding which way you release it, by way of album or EP, and then the logistics around that. But the material is there and
Definitely.
it's ready to be released.
Yes, definitely. So yeah, man, it's all about making music, making new music, and we've been making music since ever. We got in studio with African Roots and DJ Box and Spice, and everyone, man, is just excited to be on the projects that we're going to be working on. And yeah, again, here we are making beautiful music that is nostalgic and in the times of today, and we're still going to make beautiful music together.
Awesome. Kabelo, thank you so much for the time. That was Kabelo. I mean, sorry, not Kabelo. That was Thabo Small, in fact. Kabelo is in the building as well with Thabo, but that was Thabo Small from Black Motion. Of course, the gents were trying to be in studio with us today for full access, but unfortunately, because they were traveling back from Durban, and they did send their apology way earlier on in the show, just to prepare us that things were going awry on the ground at the airport in Durban. But yes, Thabo Small of Black Motion is one of the founding members of Black Motion. They're promising you that they've got the material, they've got the songs, they've got the new music. They're just now needing to decide as the collective featuring DJ Bucks and African Roots, who worked on this project with him, as well as Murder, who also features on this project. And a lot of people, the talk on the streets was whether or not Murder would form part of Black Motion, but you heard it yourself. He's also collaborated on some material of their new project. Looking forward to that when the time comes for that full album to be released. Right now, you've got Takala Zwino, which you can readily procure from wherever you buy good music. That is how we wrap it up on our end. We thank you so much for always choosing to be in conversation with us. We do not take this privilege lightly, and we appreciate you sticking with SAFM. You could be anywhere and you choose to be right here. Ashraf Gada is coming through 3 till 6. He'll let you know what's coming up on the National Pulse. There's a lot happening today. The Concourt is very busy today. They are handing down some judgments, and still that case is still being heard, with Advocate Nubugai Toby now presenting to the judges. So it's going to be a very exciting couple of days in South Africa for the judiciary. I think it's also just exciting to watch our democracy develop in real time, right? We're all learning so much. From myself and my team, have an incredible weekend. Be safe on the roads. Make sure to make memories with your loved ones. And of course, a happy Mother's Day to every single mom out there and every single woman who wishes and prays to be a mother. No doubt that God hears your prayers, and it will happen for you sometime soon. Inshallah, God willing, we get to do it again.
Thank you very much, Bridget. The top stories at 3 o'clock. Bongo acquitted on corruption charges, and another legal setback for Jacob Zuma. Very good afternoon. Former State Security Minister Bongani Bongo and 7 accused, including 3 companies, have been acquitted by the Nelspruit Specialized Commercial Crimes Court in Mbombela, Mpumalanga.